So, here we go.
It was filled with childish frustrations and complexes which the police were searching for James Thomas.
Hello. You're listening to Midnight Movie Gang. Right now, it's 4:56 p.m. Night Movie Gang where we're at. This is a show where we talk about cult cinema, genre film, lesser known kind of movies as a focus in general, horror, weird shit. We can swear, by the way. Swearing's totally fine. I'm LC, your host. I'm here with my boy Joseph. We're not in the same room today. Usually we record locally, but
we're remote.
Today's been a long day, and I just want to go order dinner after this. And today we're joined by Arthur from Cents Critic. What's up?
Hello. I'm glad to be here. Yes, I'm Arthur, and popping in to talk about our movies today, and movies that I have lots of love for, and I'm really glad we got to discuss this because I feel like it's very underrated. I would say quite underrated.
Yeah, I'm definitely glad I watched it.
Yeah, no, it's got a lot of great things going for it. I finished it today. Last night I started it, but I fell asleep, not because of the movie, because I was tired, and I had to finish it today. There's a lot of great things to talk about with it.
A few hours ago.
Yeah. So before we get into the movie, Arthur, tell us about your podcast, your love for movies, kind of your background. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure thing. So, again, I'm Arthur Howell. I'm the host of Cents Critic, a podcast that I have been running for over 3 years now, which feels surreal, I must say.
Nice.
And
congratulations.
Thank you. It's just 3 years and just keep getting running forward. And I do love podcasting very much, and specifically on my show, I use that platform to talk about movies, books, and TV shows. I'm not really sticking to any specific genre, any specific type of storytelling. It's more just like a whatever I want to cover, really. I feel like I have a pretty omnivorous taste that way.
It's an art form.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just
Do you feel like you have a particular you have one format that's like your kind of favorite go-to? Like, would you consider yourself more of a book person, more of a movie person, or literally just like give it all to me?
It's really just give it all to me, because I mean, just with
Okay.
movies, books, and TV shows, I have such huge favorites across all of them, and for all just the different facets of how you experience storytelling through a book or a movie or a TV show. It's just something that I can appreciate all of the different facets of those
That's
formats.
awesome.
That's great. Yeah. No, I wish I need to read more. I've been trying to listen to more audiobooks lately. I just have no attention.
Audiobooks. I love audiobooks.
I've tried to read two novels in a row, and now I'm just back to reading Watchmen again. I need pictures like a little kid.
Yeah. Right now I'm making my way through the Dune books slowly but surely. Audiobooks.
Dune. I've read the first two Dune books.
I really
and I want to keep the journey moving forward.
Yeah. No, I prefer Dune Messiah to the first.
Interesting.
To the first one.
Oh.
Honestly, the one I'm most excited to see how Denis adapts that into a movie.
Yes.
But that's a different episode. People at home, if you want to listen to our Dune episode, go ahead and do that. So let's start talking a little bit about shit.
No.
Not shit. A bottle.
We'll talk about shit.
Let's we can. Let's talk about Midnight on Midnight Movie Gang. The perfect title. Midnight is a 2021 South Korean psychological thriller film written and directed by Kwon Oh-seung. I'm pronouncing that right. And Arthur, you recommended this movie to us. Neither me or Joseph had heard of this movie.
Went in completely blind.
I feel like I feel like as far as Korean cinema goes, we kind of know we know
the big ones that escaped Korea.
Your Parasites and your other films by Bong Joon-ho. Your Old Boys, all them. And Arthur, tell us how you first came across this movie. Is there are you particular into kind of Korean films like this? Tell us your history with this movie.
Well, Midnight. I wish I could remember specifically how I found this movie, because I can't remember. Did I find it on Twitter? Did I find it on Letterboxd? I can't remember that specifically, but I do just generally remember finding it during this phase back in 2022. 2022 was generally a big year for me, just going through
in general.
Just discovering movies, just really diving into more and more movies. And so 2022 was a big year for that. And then 2023, that was when I first saw Midnight. And I remember specifically it was in February of 2023, first saw it. And again, I do remember when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, apparently it's underrated. That's what I heard about it. It's underrated. Apparently it's very thrilling. I see you can watch it at a time. I think it was on Tubi and Prime Video, I think, if I recall correctly. And then I ended up watching it. And then it was like, holy crap, this is amazing. And I'm
really
shocked that people have not talked about this more. And then after that, I ended up rewatching it in July of 2023 with my ex, in order to show her, hey, because my ex and I we would watch movies sometimes, and especially movies that I would try to show her, see if she likes them. And with Midnight, held up for me and for her, she also really loved it. So it was great to introduce someone else to the movie. And now for the third total viewing, I've dived back into Midnight for this podcast collab. And again, still holds up so damn well. And I feel like there's something about the experience when I first saw the movie where it was just so deeply thrilling. Like, it got my heart racing, it was anxiety inducing. I think that does dampen during the rewatches just because I know what's going to happen. That being said, there's still a whole bunch of tensions that I feel, even though I know what will happen. And even there are some scenes where it's like, oh, I forgot that happens here. And that does amp up the fear in my heart.
It is very effective tension, like all the way through, from the very beginning to all the way to the end. Man, you really feel that like helplessness. Like, I think one of the main themes the movie's trying to like touch on is just like to be like this kind of like in the society that she lives in, that these women live in. They're just like they feel completely helpless in these scenarios, like that. Like the killer is in complete control of like any situation he's in, and he almost uses like, not to like, as like a mild spoiler, she kind of wins at the end through like casting the right narrative to the bystanders that see, which is what he's been doing the whole time. It's just all about like perception and how people react to perception based on their like preconceived notions.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, stereotyping and discrimination, which I think the movie is able to effectively handle so well. And then also, I do want to note, you had asked about my experience with South Korean cinema, and I do want to note about that because I have definitely explored quite a bit of that, and Midnight is one example. Parasite also, lots of love Parasite, also Memories of Murder, and Forgotten. I have to give a shout out to Forgotten. That is also another great thriller. It's just completely screws with your mind. Forgotten is a great one.
I've heard about Forgotten.
And
yeah, that's one I definitely want to
check out. Please do. And The Call. The Call is also, I like that one. It has some flaws, but I still like The Call. It's an interesting little thriller. And I Saw the Devil. Of course, I Saw the Devil is a classic. That is one of the most gut-wrenching movies I've ever seen.
Okay.
But just in general, I could go on and on. But just in general, lots of experience with South Korean movies and lots of love.
That's awesome.
It's just
a lot of gut-wrenching work coming out of that country.
Yes, gut-wrenching, gritty, dark.
Yeah.
Like, you want to plunge into these movies.
Our first episode was Old Boy.
Yeah, that's true.
Old Boy.
The first episode being Joseph.
I've not seen that in years.
I had never seen before.
Oh, you never saw it before, LC? Okay.
I hadn't seen it before we did the episode, and we did the episode was we compared the original Old Boy to the Spike Lee American remake, and it's
which is awful.
It was
I've never
terrible
seen.
It's like-
movie, terrible.
Never seen the
Do
remake.
not. No, the remake sucks.
No need
yeah,
to.
it's worse in every single way.
But the OG is great.
It's definitely.
OG is great.
Yes,
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
the OG is great. It's definitely a big example of something that I wholesale believe in, is that like the concept of something itself, like the idea of like what in terms of movies, really, like you can have like a concept of like, oh, it's the exact same story, the exact same thing happens, but it's all about the execution of it. And just the fact of the matter is, like, the original film, just like like everything from the acting to like the editing to the like the musical cues, the sound design, like all contributes to like making, you know, the twists and turns and like various terrible things that happen in that movie just impact more. But in the American version, they just take all the heat out of it.
Yeah. They hired Spike Lee as like a gun for hire director. It's really weird.
Yeah, it sucks because I love Spike Lee, and it's just very clear that like he was
not a passion
was brought in
project
as a hired gun. But I wanted to say about the about Midnight, something that there are a few things about the movie that I feel like hit at like really core fears.
Yeah.
That like I know that like
Oh,
I've seen.
man.
Like one is just the idea that like something that like I've experienced in my life is as far as like the idea that somebody is lying about you. Like that, like they're like you're trying to make an accusation of someone in a crowded place, and nobody believes.
And that
you.
happens like 5 times.
Yeah, no, and like that, just that idea that like no matter what you can do, like from an outside perspective, like oh my god, this like looks so bad. Like, and that's like what a lot of the tension is kind of built around. Like a lot of the ways the bad guy gets away is like the public perception of what's actually going on. It just like isn't the truth, and just like the way that this killer manipulates people is just really.
I really like this villain a lot. I noticed a lot of like.
Doshik, oh my god, Doshik is so shut. I think he is one of the most terrifying and intelligent serial killers I've ever seen on screen.
He reminds me a lot of Patrick Bateman. Like he's like this very accurate depiction of a psychopath on camera, where it's like there's just nothing going on. The only real emotion that they feel is like anger or frustration that they're not getting what they want. And they can just turn emotions on and off because it's all just a facade. It's scary. He's a really scary character.
And they thrive on just feeling the thrill of wielding power over their victims.
And it's just all it takes is a person who's really good at like predicting how people react, and just he's like engineering every situation he's in. He's manipulating the cops, he's manipulating bystanders, he manipulates the victims.
And he's charming too. He's very charming about it. He's charming. And he's able-bodied, and so when he's trying to chase down a deaf woman, then of course that exposes the ableism that's baked into the society that's going to look at this woman and be like, oh, well, you're deaf. Well, you're not as capable of taking care of yourself or providing any information. We're going to rely more on this able-bodied man for the info,
it's like
trust him.
The button that she hits to like alert the cops is like it just doesn't work because she can't respond to the cop who's talking over the intercom. Like it's just they didn't even consider if someone was hearing impaired. She just feels helpless.
That was one scene where I was thinking like she like they can see her on the camera. My mental, although she's deaf, so she isn't hearing that they can see her on the camera. I was about to say, never mind that. Yeah, that's true.
It's not built in. Again, the ableism just built into that. It's not designed for deaf people to use, which is really dangerous. Like that whole system is great and conceptually, but you're not designing it with all people in consideration.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's really smart. It's thinking about like a lot of, because it's not just how society is only built for a certain kind of person, and if you're not that kind of person, you just feel like helpless in these situations. Like, what do you even do? If they're just defaulting to believing another person over you, but it's just scary. It's just a scary premise in general.
Yes, and it's amazing. I find it amazing that Kwon Oh-seong, who's the writer and director of this movie. What's the rest of the work here from this filmmaker? Come on, we need more work. We need more good work
Yeah,
here.
come on. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, so he directed this, and then he's got another movie coming out called Trigger. Oh, it's a TV series.
Okay.
That he's working.
Yes.
And be directing an episode or two.
Interesting. So he hadn't made a movie before this. This felt very low budget, I will say.
Yeah.
It's amazing that you just launched. You just launched with a debut like this, like Midnight.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. That's impressive.
Yeah. Let's start breaking into the plot a little bit. So this movie opens. I really like the cold open of this movie with like it starts with a woman. Her cab gets stolen. I forget if she's like coming out of work or like leaving like a bar or something. Her cab gets stolen. She's like walking down like a dark alley at night. Everything's all dirty. Then the serial killer drives by in his hippie van, full of disguises and costumes, which I really like.
Oh my god! Yeah, right off the bat, you're like, "There's something up with that van."
Vans in general.
Right off the bat, it's like you can see that this is just
avoid vans.
Yeah.
This is just this guy's whole life. He's got all these like disguises and different outfits that he's like evil hitman.
Otherwise known as Hitman.
He offers her a ride. He offers her a ride, and she's pretty quickly like, "Oh, I don't talk to strangers." Basically, I forget if he has a recording. I forget. Does he have a recording of somebody asking for help, or like?
Oh,
is there like a dying woman?
He makes like
car?
a crying voice.
And he has the body. The male victim in the van. So he lures the poor woman in, and then that shot when he pops his head out from the clothing, hanging inside the van.
And his face is just dead. Yeah.
He looks right at her, and she sees the body, and just to confirm, like the body, like he's dead, right? The male victim, right?
Yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah, just dead. And then he slowly just like puts his mask on, and then just yanks her inside the van, and she tries to escape, but she isn't successful, and then she ends up getting killed.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
No, it's a very good. It reminds me of I'm a big fan that you immediately know who the killer is in this movie, because it reminded me a bit of another horror movie that or more of a horror movie. Like, so have either of you guys seen Scream 6?
No.
The newest Scream movie?
I haven't seen any Screams.
Joseph, do you care about spoiler for this?
Spoil away. I'll probably forget by the time I watch it.
Spoilers for Scream 6. So Scream 6 opens up with like a typical, all the Scream movies open up with Ghostface like killing someone, talking to someone on the phone, killing them. The beginning of Scream 6, it seems like, so you get the killing, and then instead of cutting away to the title, you sit for a minute with Ghostface, and he takes off his mask, and you see who Ghostface is. And you follow him for a little bit, and like he walks around like his campus, but then eventually it's revealed it's like a double blind where like this Ghostface copycat gets killed by the real Ghostface of the movie, and like for most of the movie you don't know who it is. But in that opening, I'm like, oh, this is going to be really interesting, and they have to be really creative if they're going to do a Scream movie where you know who Ghostface is the whole time.
Yeah.
This movie is kind of like, it's interesting because you get to see them play around with like that kind of idea where like I feel like a lot of like this format of movies, or like it is what made me think of, is like knowing who the killer is the whole time. Like you just have it just lets you do interesting things like with the audience expectations and like what the audience knows.
Yeah.
And, like I thought they used it creatively. And in a bigger budget movie, I wonder what they could do with it. And I thought that was really cool.
It is cool. I like having just like a realistic psychopath that just wants nothing but to like just hurt people. That's his only goal.
And showing people as well, because also the opening of Midnight shows how Doshik is able to fool the people who arrive and just be like, oh, and he pretends like, oh, I found the bodies. Oh no, I'm all terrified.
Yeah.
I need help over here. Yeah, he just switches it up real quick.
Yeah.
To like playing the
Lights
victim.
up a cigarette.
Yeah, he kind of is like Michael Myers, where it's like, because he's wearing a mask anyway. Like you don't know who this person is. Like
him wearing a mask.
Like, he's an empty shell.
Him wearing a mask is
and he's
on.
wearing.
It's important later on to disguise himself, and then it's like, oh,
It's true too. He like disguises his identity.
Yeah.
But like him just walking out in a suit and tie when you've just seen him in the mask, it's like this is his new disguise. You just don't know. It's scary.
Just a completely different person. So yeah, next we get introduced to our primary main character in the movie, Kim Kyung Mi, she's a customer service representative for, I forget if they said what the company does that she works for.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Just like vague businessy stuff.
Yeah, vague business stuff. I don't remember.
Not super
details about the company.
Not super important to. Not super important to the plot, but she's specifically like a sign language call center.
Yeah.
She's on camera, like helping
with
other
rude customers.
Yeah, dealing with assholes. Deaf people can be assholes too.
And it
Remember
feels
that.
so realistic that way. Like, and for her introduction, it just really gives us a great insight into her character and how she's not gonna put up with shit. You know what? If you're gonna be rude to her, she won't stamp her foot down. And it's even funny. Like, there are bits and pieces of this movie where it does slip in a bit of dark comedy, and there's even like some middle finger, and she puts up the middle finger in response to the caller.
Yeah, and that comes back.
Her own middle finger.
Yeah, and that all comes back too. It's all reincorporated.
Absolutely, it all comes full circle. So we're introduced to her. I believe before we're introduced to the mom, there was a scene where like her boss is trying to convince all the other like women who work at the office to have dinner with the clients, to try to schmooze people, and like nobody's having it. But she agrees to go have dinner with the clients, and they are being rude to her, being misogynist.
Yeah, right in front of her.
Dicks.
And that's like they don't think that she can understand, so they're just saying
Yeah.
all the horrible stuff they'd be saying if she wasn't around. But she understands all of it, but they don't speak sign language, so she can talk to them too, and they also don't know what she's saying. It's really clever.
I love that. Again, it gets some laughs out of me, in a movie that is generally quite dark, and I'm pretty sure she's the only.
Yeah.
It looks like she's the only deaf employee at this company, or at least in her department, right? It looks like it's amazing.
It seems that way, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like she in the scene where like all the other representatives are there. She isn't signing to anybody. She's only communicating with the text on.
Yeah,
her
having
phone.
a deaf protagonist is a really interesting idea for a horror story.
Yeah, another movie that does it. It's funny enough. We were just talking about this movie the other day, Joseph. That's something that I think A Quiet Place does really. Just thinking about another movie that has one of the main protagonists in the movie is deaf, and how like they use it to show like when it's from that character's perspective, we're also silent, and there might be certain threats, certain things going on in the background that she's not aware of that we as an audience can add to the tension because you're like, no, get the fuck out of the way, you can't hear shit.
Oh man, there's a scene, we'll get to it later, but there's a scene where it's just like, imagine there's a killer in your house just walking around and you just have no idea.
And you can't hear. The scene of dinner happens, then we get introduced to her mother, her sweet mother.
Very nice, likable character.
Yeah. We don't get her name. She's just mother.
Chinese mother.
Okay. Who she has been working really hard at her. I forget. She works like a textile, like a sewing.
Yeah, like a tailor, like tailor shop kind of thing.
Yeah.
It seems like she's working overtime. She's like got this extra money because her and her daughter are gonna go on vacation. automatically, like, for me, she was definitely the character I cared most about.
She's the most likable character, for sure.
Yes, yes.
For sure. And she's also deaf, like
Deaf
her daughter, deaf mute like her daughter. And the first scene where we see her coming, like already, there's kind of like they're trying to build up the tension where she's running towards the car. There's a motorcycle coming, and her daughter. Oh, and I love, and her daughter can tell that it's coming because there's pretty clever use of like just little wave like sound like visualizers basically like in her car.
Yeah, this kind of stuff that the stuff that she needs like in her everyday life just to like be able to drive and knowing that someone's at the door.
Which is something I've never seen before, and I feel like that was a very like a pretty clever way to like kind of visually. And later they use that where when the killer's in the car, you know, and like the things start to go off. But no, her mother almost gets hit by the motorcycle, by the moped.
That's a really tense scene in itself. It has nothing to do with the rest of the plot aside from just to establish how this thing works. But like,
it was terrifying. Like even when I first saw the movie, I was like, "Oh, good lord, no!" And nothing happens ultimately, but it's still like, "Holy crap!" Almost.
Yeah, it
so
seems
close.
like a really close call.
Yeah. And around this time we get introduced to what is it? The Choi So-jung and Jung Tak, the brother and sister duo in this movie.
Yeah, he's like super protective of her.
Super protective.
Almost like a
he's a security guard. Security guard.
Yeah, I was getting Spencer and Carly for my Carly vibes.
Spencer and Carly.
As far as, like, that was the dynamic. She's going out on a hot date, and he's all like, put more clothes on, pretty much. Just saying that she's dressed too skimpy. We get the movie title drop where he's like, be back by 9, and she's like, no, midnight. Midnight. Like,
even though most of the movie takes place after midnight.
Yeah, probably. Like, yeah, they never make a big point to show. The movie should be called 2:21 a.m.
It's like 3 a.m. by the time they get back to the house, and that's like at the halfway point in the movie.
Stretching on through the night.
Yeah. Yep. And already, like her brother is like super overprotective. We learn. I didn't catch it. I have to rewatch it, I guess. But we learned that he's a Marine, or he was a former Marine. Former Marine Corps, currently working at a security company. That's what it is. So he's not to be messed with, as far as that goes. And then I think, what is it? The first thing that happens. This is the point where I think the main character Kim Mi, she drops her mother off at home. She's walking down the alley, and the killer, I forget, is it the killer starts chasing the mother, right? That's what happens at this point.
I think the killer is chasing the guy's sister, and he thinks that he can't get her because there's I don't remember anybody's name. I'm sorry, but he thinks that he can't get her because this older woman is here.
Okay, because I'm trying to remember specifically this part, but I know the mom was here, and then Doshik was chasing one of them, and eventually switches over.
Yeah, he's and then he realizes that she's deaf, and I think that he turns around and chases after her, which is one of the scariest images in the movie. Is this man just sprinting after this woman in a dark alley?
Yes.
Yeah, because he basically smells the weakness.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, or at least like he smells what he perceives as weakness, you know, and like he just immediately goes after it. But the first person that he gets is he does attack the sister, and has her hostage for most of the movie. Yeah. Then I'm trying to remember exactly. In this first section, there's a scene where he's chasing after the main character. She's trying to protect her mother, she escapes. They have a scuffle trying to remember. Here's the thing: the first half of the movie I saw yesterday. The second half I saw today. So like the first half is what's blurry in my head. But let's just talk about some of these particular scenes. I really love the scene where and this whole time the brother is like his sister still hasn't come home yet, so he's like
starting to freak
looking around
out.
for her.
Yeah.
Understandably.
He has he has a brief encounter with the mother character, which kind of establishes like which becomes important later. And then the first like scene that I remember that like being particularly good. We mentioned it already, but the scene where they set off the alarm, like the police, the emergency line. Which it's funny because like I've only seen in America at least I've only seen those like on college campuses. Those alert towers.
I don't think I've ever seen
this
one.
Is a dangerous neighborhood.
I don't think I've ever seen one in person. Like in my area.
Yeah, they have them on campus. I remember my college campus had them, and there was a big. It was a big thing. There was like a tour, like a college tour that had like a little kid was on the tour, and he just like hit the emergency button, and like all of them all over campus went off, and like there was SWAT came. It was a whole disaster. But yeah, no. So like they're under this light. The cops are trying to talk to them through the tower, and they're just not able to hear. Which, yeah, that was something that when I was watching, I thought was a plot hole until I thought about it. Where I was like, why can't you just like wave at the thing to let them know that you can hear them? And then I was like, no, they can't hear them. Like
they don't even know that someone's they don't even know someone's watching them or anything.
Exactly. Yeah, they're being chased by the killer. But yeah, at this point, the killer is in a mask and cap, so they can't. They weren't able to tell it was him. And he comes up wearing a suit. He's wearing a suit and like a briefcase.
Polished up.
And they don't recognize him.
Polished, and he comes in and he looks like he can provide assistance. And it's just like, no, he's not just this man. No. And even I do want to point out before the scene actually there was another scene that I love. It's the one where Doshik is chasing Kyungmi through the garage, and that whole sequence I also really love.
Oh yes.
Even like when he pops up in the car that he tries to escape in, and it's like when he pops up in the car behind her, it reminds me of the van. When he pops out his head out from the clothing in the van at the opening of the movie, and then even the way he says to her, "So your ears are clogged, not your mouth." And just like the way he says that to her, it's just so like it makes me feel gross. Like
it's creepy.
It's real creepy.
Yeah,
real gross. Like just such a real slimy way of putting it. Yeah, no, for sure. That was definitely a really creepy reveal, for sure. And like I said, they made really good use of the little sound meter there too, because like you know that he's there before you even see him.
Yes.
Yeah, so he escapes there. And then so he claims he's like dressed in a nice suit. He claims to be
looking for his sister.
Looking for his sister, who in actuality is his victim. So like he's trying to get them alone, but they want to go to the police station first, and he's still like lying this whole time. And then while they're at the police station,
it's a long protracted scene at the police station. We're here for a while.
Yeah, pretty much the second act of the movie is the police station. Really, now that I think about it, like it's kind of the like where everything gets revealed. But yeah, no, the brother shows up at the police station looking for his sister. And also during this whole time, there's like a lot of little moments between the mother and the killer where you can tell that she doesn't trust this guy.
Yes.
Yeah. So unfortunate that Wikipedia only has the premise up, and usually when we do this, we got Wikipedia to help, but Wikipedia does not have all the info. But yeah, no. So during this scene, this sequence I'm trying to remember what starts the fight.
Well, because
he goes to stab him in the back.
Right, right, because Doshik has a knife, and remember the mom was looking in the bag, and she realized, oh, the knife is gone. She looks up at him.
Yes.
He has the knife, and then he goes to attack. He goes to attack Zhongtak, and he's desperately looking for his sister, and the cops don't believe Zhongtak when they find him attacking Doshik, or they think oh, you're just attacking this innocent guy at knife point, and one of the officers ends up tasing Zhongtak.
Yeah.
And Doshik is able to just walk
he
out
gets the upper hand.
and it's like, no, you had him right here.
Yeah,
but the cops are acting so incompetent in this movie. Incompetent cops, I tell ya. Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's extremely frustrating. This whole movie, it's just this feeling of frustration and rage throughout. It's just why are you all not listening to these people?
It's pretty much. I mean, it just goes to show that when you have a disability or just when you have a disability like this, it's people just see you as so much less than nobody takes them seriously because they're deaf. They're kind of oh, okay, I'll help you.
Because there's this one extra step in communicating with them, and that just makes it they have such a harder time taking them seriously.
And even the homeless guy who
I also wanted to comment
at the police station.
Sorry.
The homeless guy who showed up at the police station.
Yeah.
Even he wasn't really getting treated all that kindly, was he? No.
He knew something was up.
Yeah, no, he definitely knew something was up. Yeah, no, and he tried to warn everybody. I wanted to comment on this fight scene real quick between Jungtak and Doshi. The fight choreography in this movie is pretty solid, but with that character, as far as because that he knows how to fight. The camera isn't super shaky, it's all in frame well. They're points they're getting thrown over desks and thrown through furniture, and stuff, and it's actually pretty solid fights in this movie. I was surprised by that.
Yeah, props to the cinematographer.
Yeah, it's really solid.
Props to the cinematographer.
Absolutely.
Shot takes Kian for the camera work here. I feel especially during some shots, it's just how the camera just really pulls you into the environment and how dynamic it is, and just pulls you into, I think, especially the perspectives of characters,
I like the use of
Doshik. I really love it.
I like since a lot of the movie is in the dark, they really use depth of field really, really strongly. It's everywhere. I also really like that shot from The Shining. I liked it in The Shining too, but I liked it here too. He's got the axe.
Anytime
it's the exact same shot.
The axe.
Anytime there's a man with an axe cutting through a door,
it's the same shot. It's following the axe and it's moving this. It's a direct reference.
Here's Johnny.
Yep,
exactly.
Oh, yeah. I gotta rewatch The Shining. It's been so long.
Favorite horror movie?
I love one of my favorites. One of my favorites.
Yeah, as far as just as far as I gotta that was one that I never really watched growing up. As far as and I love Stephen King adaptations, and it's that was one that was not I think it was because it was too long. Isn't that movie 4 hours long or something?
It's not that long.
It's two and a half.
Isn't
two and a half, I think, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
146 minutes. Yeah, it's too long.
Nah, dude, it's the best one ever made.
It's a slow burn. I love the slow burn.
Yeah.
True. Just the slow descent into madness. I still need to see I heard Doctor Sleep.
I heard it was better than I thought it was going to be.
Doctor Sleep, I saw that. I actually liked it. I don't think it's perfect, but it's pretty damn good, I must say.
Okay. All right.
Gotcha. We'll do a Stephen King episode at some point for sure. That'd be
Stephen
fun.
King hates The Shining.
But yeah, no. Yeah. All the ones that he hates. No, actually, no, Joseph. You know what? Our next commentary should be The Dark Tower.
I saw that in the theater.
I have not seen that.
That'd be fucking lit.
Oh.
It's bad.
I saw it in the theater too. Yeah, I was pretty much just going to watch Idris Elba be a magical cowboy,
and you were still disappointed.
Honestly, I think people hated on that movie too much. But moving on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I thought Matthew McConaughey was solid as the Man in Black, as the bad guy. I thought he was good. But anyway, so next thing that happens, we're at the house. He's chasing her all throughout the house. I forget why the mother isn't there. Like the mom's friend, her coworker comes to take her away. I'm trying to remember why exactly. Like why her coworker.
I think she just needed to like pick something up from their house.
Yeah.
I think that was really it. I think it's pretty just to have like a fake out and a reason to get her out of the apartment for when the killer shows up.
Yeah, because there's a point where Kyung-mi thinks that her mom is texting her, but then she looks at his text and she's like, wait, it's perfectly spelled here. This is suspicious. And then she realizes, oh, it's Doshi who's texting me.
Yeah, that's a really scary part when when she's looking at her phone and she's looking back through the text and she's getting new messages. It's like open the door, open the door, open the door. That was actually really scary. Yeah, but that's after this whole sequence with she's in the cops know that they got the wrong guy and they know that there's still a killer out there, but they're just not really doing anything about it. But she's just in her apartment and she's like trying to relax and decompress, and she's deaf, so she doesn't hear that the killer is also in her apartment, just kind of like toying with her in the background, and it's another like really frustrating scene.
And I think, if I recall correctly, isn't one of the sound sensors not working? Right? Did he cut off the power?
Yes,
he like disconnects it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like he deactivates it, and that's an additional element of like her not being aware of what's going on in the house. Yeah. Just really effective stuff.
Very.
There's another movie called Hush.
Yes.
I remember it was on Netflix for a while. That was also somewhere where it was like there was a serial killer in the house, and it was like a deaf woman who lived in the house. Haven't seen it, but I heard it was really good.
It is. I love it. Yeah.
I think it was.
I've heard things about. Oh no, I'm thinking of Don't Breathe. I was about to say, like, I've heard about the ending of that movie.
Don't Breathe. I have seen that.
That's another one.
That movie. It tore some shit towards the end. Okay.
Yeah, no, it got crazy for sure. But no, like definitely another movie that I am a big fan of. This of the what's it called? What would you call it? Like the disability genre? Like disability.
I don't know if I'd call it the disability genre.
Or I don't know, just like where you're using like a character doesn't have like access to a sense or full mobility to like add to the horror. Like there's another movie, I forget what it's called, but it was about like a demon. There's a demon in the house, and the main character isn't deaf. Like the main character can't speak. Like the main character like has something wrong with like their like vocal cords or whatever. And they can't call 911. I forget. I saw it. It came out during COVID. I saw it at a drive-in movie.
Interesting.
And it was, I really enjoyed it.
And no one ever heard of it ever again.
Yeah, there's like a shape-shifting demon. Like it takes the form of like the kid's dead mom and like his dad and stuff. Like it's a real.
Sounds like a riot.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It sounds like a laugh a minute.
I'll have to keep an eye out for that premise if I ever see something like this. But while we're on this topic,
sound interesting.
While we're on this topic, I do want to give a shout out to a few other movies that fall into the same category. So we have Run, that is something I'll recommend, and that's a good one. There's also See For Me, which I didn't absolutely love. It has some interesting stuff going on, but I feel like it could have been executed better. But See For Me is something else you should check out.
See For Me.
And then there's also
See For Me?
See For Me, yes. It's about a visually impaired former skier who's house sitting at this mansion, and it ends up being a home invasion while she's house sitting there, and she has to use an app called See For Me. Was the app allows people
I think I've seen
to
trailers.
See, see for you. People are hooked up to the app and they see for blind people through the camera.
That's interesting.
And it's like, that's again,
really interesting.
I don't love the movie. I wish it could have been better, but other people could still check it out. Maybe I know some other people are into it, and so that's one movie. And then there's also Wait Until Dark with Audrey Hepburn, and I enjoyed that one quite a bit. That's a good one.
Okay.
That's about a blind woman who's again having to fend off against home invaders, and thieves. That
sounds really interesting.
Interesting. It's a whole subgenre.
Yeah, and it's a really good scene in this movie.
Yeah. So the final bit, she's being chased through the streets. there's
A lot of this movie is people
it?
running through streets at night.
It's so it's
Running
so
through
tense.
scary streets
It's so
at night.
tense, and I love how the movie
It is.
built up. It builds up the pacing, the tension. It's always, and it's just very smooth in that fashion. It always keeps me terrified. I really do love that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the movie ever really truly slows down. Really, I think it always.
No, it
Yeah, it keeps the tension ratcheted up.
keeps moving.
There were points.
Yeah.
I think my main critique of this movie is the pacing. The pacing makes it difficult to figure out where exactly you are in the movie, which I guess is useful for a thriller because you don't know what's going to happen to the characters. But at the same time, it was like, man, this still got like half a movie left. This feels like this was like ramping down when we got to the police station, but there's still half a movie.
Yeah.
I mean, all my
in
favorite
this
stuff did happen in the latter half, though, I will say. I like the way it ends.
Same. I'm also a big fan of
Yeah.
the ending. I want to say there's a great scene here where probably my favorite scene in the movie where it's like the killer. So the killer has our main character like cornered, and the brother shows up. Jung Tak shows up, and like he's trying to be like, "Where's my fucking sister?" And the killer gives him a choice. Like, I'll tell you where your sister is if you leave this girl here for
That,
me.
I think,
Or you
was
could
the
save
most
this girl.
interesting, like, gut-wrenching part of the movie. Like, this
Yeah.
is what you'd probably market it on. Is,
Yes.
like, you give...
Real solve.
Yeah, you
So
give this character a
Wally
choice.
Gray.
It's like,
One
listen,
way that
I know you want to be a good guy here, but, like, how good of a guy do you want to be? Or, like, how badly do you really want to save your sister? Like, who are you really in this for?
and it's
The trolley problem.
it's
energy.
so ruthless.
Yeah, I think it was...
the pull that so ruthless.
Yeah, it made me think of like it's like, is this movie trying to talk about like the only way we can actually like all get along better is if we look out for each other regardless of like how we know each other. It's like just actually stick together to make things better for everybody, because he does come back and that's his arc, but it is gut-wrenching to see him be like, yeah, I'm obviously gonna go for my sister. You're a bastard for making me do this, but yeah, I guess you can have this this random woman I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, no, real tough scene to get through. But yeah, basically, so it seems like he chooses his sister, and when he goes to the location that he's told, she's not there. And it was very much a double blind thing where he's talking to the killer on the phone, and he's like, you don't have like any ground to stand on for demands because you fucking sold out this like innocent young woman to for your own personal shit.
Yeah, how morally superior are you? The answer is very, because he's not a serial killer, but
And it's
you
like,
know, I guess that's beside the point.
Yeah, don't think like you're the asshole here. Stop it! Like you're the one, who's putting you're putting them in these positions here. Stop it, you little hypocrite.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then there's and then I'm trying to, between then there's a pretty good fight scene. My favorite, probably a pretty good fight scene in an alley between Doshik and Jung Tak, where he's like doing some wrestling moves with this fucking dude. Like right before before that scene, there's a scene where she breaks down and like speaks through. Basically begging for her life, talking about like all the things that she wants to do.
That's after she runs to downtown.
Yes,
and she thinks, you would think that being surrounded by a bunch of random strangers would make you safer if you're getting chased by a serial killer, but they all just assume she's crazy because she can't really speak clearly because she's deaf, and she's holding a knife because she's scared of this man who's chasing her, and he just very quickly like, oh, this is my sister, she's crazy, I'm trying to get her under control.
And they all trust him.
Yeah,
they all
very
trust
quickly
him.
has a play.
Yeah, and the crazy, like, I think one of the parts that like proves the thesis strongest is these like military guys think they're doing like a good deed by like pulling this woman to him and dropping her off at his feet and giving him the knife. Like, yeah, here you go, buddy. when they're actively just giving a serial killer his victim. It's very smart. Yeah, it's another frustrating part.
Just the evil plan.
Yeah, he's just really good at manipulation and social engineering.
Yes,
especially considering his like privilege in the situation.
Yes, and then at this point, also we should note that Sojong medics are tending to her at this point as well. So like she's okay. And even before that, just Street Alarm also came back in because Kyungmi had to draw Doshik's attention and was like yelling outside, like banging on the wall, and then she activated the Street Alarm to help Sojong be able to hide.
Yeah, that was a great.
Yeah,
that was a great scene too. The little team up.
Yeah, but so he gets her like alone in the alley after the military guys have brought his victim back to him, thinking they did something good. And like what happens?
The military guys bring her back, and then that's when she begs for her life.
Yeah, she does. She has like a monologue.
And it's emotional. It's heartbreaking. Like props to the actor Jin Ki-ju for delivering that monologue, because I really did think that she was moving there. Like
it's very sad.
She wants to she talks about wanting to live her life and just having a full life, and having a family,
all the stuff she wants to do.
She's trying.
And if you kill me, I can't do any of that.
Yep, and she's trying to.
And obviously, it doesn't affect him because he's a sociopath.
Yep, it doesn't affect him. No. Like, he does not care. He just wants to wield his power.
At that moment, I was like, man, if this like moves him in any way, I'm not on board with this movie anymore, because the only thing that makes sense
if he grows a
only
heart.
thing that makes sense is for this guy to just think like, why is my food talking to me? Like, why would you think that would ever like sway me?
And the Grinch's heart grew 3 seconds.
Yeah, no, this is not that kind of movie.
No.
Yeah. So he's about to kill her. Like, he's not dissuaded at all, really. And then, so then Jung Tak shows up. They have a pretty sick WWE wrestling fight in this alleyway.
He gets his ass. He chokes him out. But then they turn their back on him and he wakes up, which is like,
no.
What do you think was going to happen?
Don't turn it back, please.
We get the killer always comes back. we get the killer always comes back.
Always.
And he overpowers the brother.
Which is here's one of the moments I'm most critical of in this movie. He overpowers the brother. Brother stands up, and he's like, you know what? Fine. Because like he finds out that her mother is also like downtown looking for her, and he's like, fine, I'll just go after your mother. And he turns around and just walks away, and they both just kind of watch him walk away. It's like he's right there. Tackle him. Like what?
Yeah.
And he gets away like half of downtown, like they're like really far away from him. And it's like, what are you doing?
They ran out of budget for another
Yeah, I guess.
So, like, we gotta wrap the movie up.
It's like, I understand the thematic need for him to like corner her mother, but like you're just gonna stand there and let him do it, I guess.
Yeah. And then we get to the little climactic final kind of showdown between Kim Kyung-mi and Doshik. So she runs at him with a shard of glass, and seemingly try to stab him. But she's got a bigger plan where he's like, you missed, and she's like, I meant to, and
he moves.
Has it staged.
She moves his hands.
He has it staged where. Yep. Where it looked like he stabbed her, in front of just a huge crowd of people who are all watching and recording with their cameras.
Yeah, and he's just dumbfounded.
Because
like he doesn't know what to do.
Finally,
for the first time in the movie,
he has lost the power, and dumbfounded. That is the right word. Because he looks around at the whole crowd, and
that's
he's like,
the perfect way to put it.
Oh crap! I don't have control over the situation now, and it's like. What does he have? Like a glass or a knife, something like that. Some sharp instrument, whatever he has, and he's just waving it around. And he's just like, no, it's not me. I didn't do it. No. You don't
Yeah,
understand.
yeah. In every scene this character's in through the whole movie, he's in complete control, and that's like his whole character. And this is the one time he's just like,
Yeah.
I don't see a way out of this situation, and he loses
Yes.
control, and it is very satisfying
Losing-
because
losing
she's
control.
now won public perception. She's manipulated the crowd into being on her side now.
Yeah.
It's very smart.
And she gets to sign at him, and she gets to sign at him. She's like, fuck her, like, you deserve this. And she signs that, and she gives him the middle finger.
Yeah, she
And-
flips him off. Yeah, it's great.
And that just pisses him off so much. And he tries to launch himself at her, but then the police shoot him. And the thing is, even after the police shoot him, he doesn't even go down immediately. It takes a while to stop him fully. Even with the bullet
Yeah.
wounds, but then Jong Tak ends up rushing in to take him down, just shove him
Tackles
to the
him,
ground.
he gets shot.
Mhm.
I kind of was upset. I didn't want to see him die. I wanted to see him like have to like answer for all of it. But
Yeah.
I guess this is a more satisfactory in the short term. So
Yeah.
Well, when midnight 02 p.m.
midnight 02.
Maybe
That's genius.
He'll spring back like fucking.
It's
Chuck.
called
But-
1202.
Yeah.
That does actually bring up a good
Perfect.
question, though, of if he had survived, do you think he would have been locked away for his crimes, or do you think he might have been able to slip away, be charming about it all? What do you think? Like,
You know what? He probably would have just talked his way out of it. You're right. That's the only
Yeah,
thing that
maybe
would have made
just get hit
sense.
with a fine.
I'm leaning towards that, honestly. Just because, look, the justice system, I don't fully trust the
You're right.
justice system, so...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. You're
Yeah.
right. He would have just gotten out of it.
Yeah.
Then we have the resolution.
And then you're, yep. And then you're worried for a minute if our main character is going to make it, and then we kind of skip ahead in time to them at this. They're on this island. They're at this beach that they've wanted to go to for their vacation. They talk about throughout the whole movie. And then it turns out that Jung Tak and
Sojang.
what's the name of the? Sojang.
They've trauma bonded.
They joined the. They came on the vacation too. Yeah, they're one big trauma bonded.
I don't know if
family.
I'd want to hang out with that guy. I mean, I guess he saved him. Like he saved her ultimately, but like you also
But he
looked
did
her in
choose
the
to, like,
eye
leave
and
her to
said,
get
"I'll
killed."
let you die."
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm gonna let you die.
I
Sorry,
feel like I
bye.
just want to leave all that behind me. To be honest.
Perhaps. Even if I could
Yeah.
understand why he did it, like, but to save his sister, still, it's like, hey, you know what? Maybe
Yeah.
we can appreciate
It'd be a
that we're
hard
alive.
pill to swallow.
Yeah, we can appreciate that we're alive, but I don't know if we need to spend more time after these traumatic
Yeah.
events. In any case, though, there's
Yeah, I don't
still
know if I
spending
need
time
you
on the
around.
beach, on the beach.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate how, like, the ending, like, as dark as this movie gets, as tense and terrifying as it gets, the ending is surprisingly happy and optimistic.
It's
Yeah,
a happy
It's a
ending.
very pleasant ending. Yeah.
Yeah, the four main characters
I was expecting
are
like
alive.
some like sequel bait, like, oh, he's not dead or something like that. But nope, they don't pull anything
His
cheap
arm
like
moves.
that. It's just
Yeah,
it's
and-
just happy. They got away.
And Jong Tak is also learning some sign language too. He's doing it awkwardly, like he's doing it
He's
kind of
trying.
clumsily,
Yeah.
but he's trying, and it'll take a picture together at the end, at the final shot of the movie.
It's just a nice little picture.
Yeah,
Surprisingly wholesome ending to this movie.
yeah. Especially again,
Yeah,
South
leaves
Korean
you
cinema,
warm, fuzzy
so many
feelings.
South Korean movies can get so dark. But this one, you know what? It leaves me with a happy heart, a happy warm heart.
Yes,
Absolutely.
happy ending.
So this movie that's midnight. Like we said, overall my take on it, I do feel like my main issue, like the main thing for me holding it back from like greatness for me is that it did feel like they were trying to stretch a simple idea over a whole movie.
I
Like you were
agree.
saying, it worked better as a
Yeah,
short film.
it seems
Um,
more like short film material. It felt like there was a little bit of padding.
Yeah, I feel like what they could have done, like if it were, I don't know, like is give a little bit more time to get to know the characters, Maybe have like an additional family character in there somewhere. Like maybe she has a younger sister or a younger brother or something. Just to like and have it still be the same length, but basically you can cut out some of like the first half's, like some of the running through the streets for a little bit more character development is what I'm trying to say. But beyond that, it was a really effective like little thriller movie. No, it was a lot of fun.
I was impressed.
Definitely, yeah.
The people. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say that just I still lots of love for the movie, and for me personally, I personally find the pacing to be well handled. I think it always just it doesn't feel particularly padded to me. I can understand why it feels that way for you, but for me personally, I think it's always just able to keep me enthralled and doesn't feel like I'm having to wrestle with any extraneous weight here in the movie. Like it's sagging. It just feels very tight to me in that fashion. And I will say, I do want to just take a minute or two to talk about this, because I think my biggest criticism for the movie would be that it doesn't focus on casting real life deaf actors to play the deaf characters. And because
that's a fair point.
I didn't even think about that.
Because no shade to the actors themselves, because I feel like the actors did a great job in the roles. In general, the cast was just top notch in these roles, but in an industry that continues to be very ableist towards disabled actors, and doesn't really create many lead roles for disabled actors to fill, I appreciate it when movies and TV shows, when on-screen art is able to create lead roles for real-life disabled actors. And that's why something like the MCU casting Alakwa Cox, in the role of Echo, I think that's one huge example of someone who is deaf and is also an amputee, and it casts her in this main role, where she's also able to be like an action hero. Like, that's something you don't see every day, a disabled action hero. That's really great to see. Or also Run, this movie I mentioned before, that's an example of casting a disabled actor and a disabled character role. Same for Steve for me, the same thing there. And I just wish that something like Midnight could have been able to achieve that same thing, because I'm sure there are many deaf actors who are looking for roles like this. And again, no shade to the actors themselves, great performances, but in general, in the grand scheme of things, let's create more art that has lead roles for deaf actors and disabled actors in general. And Coda, by the way, Coda, that's another example of a disabled, authentic,
Coda's
authentic disabled casting.
I love Coda.
Me too.
Coda's
I feel like,
a great movie.
I don't know, I'm
gonna want to rewatch
sometimes
it
I see people crap on Coda, and I'm like, look, for me, I love it. I have lots of appreciation for its warmth, its coziness.
Yeah, real heartwarming. But another one I was thinking of while you're listening, the biggest example I can think of is A Quiet Place. Millicent Simmons, who plays the daughter, she's actually deaf.
That's a good example.
And like that's the whole big thing
cool.
in the character. That's a great point. I didn't even think about that. I didn't think to look up and question if.
And that's just my only criticism really for the movie. If aside from that, lots of love for Midnight here.
Awesome. Cool. Last question for y'all, for both of y'all. Might be hard in this movie because I feel like it's not.
I've been thinking about it this whole time, and I just cannot. I'm having a really hard time.
I've got one, but it's a cheap one. The question is, we always ended with what prop would you want to take from this movie to have? And I got one, but it's kind of a cheap answer. I'll go first if you. Arthur, do you have an idea of one?
I have one. I do. It is.
Okay.
Wait, do you want to go first or?
No. You go first.
Okay. I would say the sound sensor from inside the car specifically. Just a handy little device, and I feel like in real life, would I love to have something like that? Sure. So I can. I'm sure it'd be handy somehow, even though I'm not deaf. I've got able hearing here, and this able-bodied in a society that accommodates able-bodied people. But still, I can find a used sound sensor, possibly, somewhere.
That's true. That's a good point. If not just for like accessibility, you have like in your car or like somewhere for like deaf people. That makes sense. It's a good one. I was just gonna say, my answer. It's not with the dead people in it, but the serial killer's
I knew
van.
you were gonna say the van.
A nice big van like
Intriguing.
actually,
with the lights inside. It is a cool van.
Well,
It has lights.
with-
That's
with
right,
the-
lights inside. I forgot about the lights.
I like the wardrobe. I like the idea of being able to drive around with like my whole wardrobe in case I need to do a quick fit
Van
change.
life, dude.
Yeah, hashtag van life for sure. Yeah, that's my pick, the van.
Man, I don't know.
cheap
I
pick,
think
but-
I think I liked one of the knives he had. It looked really fake. I like the really fake looking knife. I like a goofy looking prop knife. I don't know. That's my.
Joseph, I thought you were gonna say the axe.
You know, I was thinking about the
axe.
axe, but
Me
at the
too.
end of the day,
I was
the
thinking about
axe
the
is
axe. I was thinking about the axe.
at the end of the day, the axe is just like I can just go to like Home Depot. Yeah.
But a midnight axe. Wouldn't you want a midnight axe? Come on.
That's true. If it's signed, then sure. But I don't know. I like
Oh,
a
yeah,
goofy looking prop knife. That's what I want.
Makes sense. That's a good pick. Yeah, rock and roll. Cool. We're at a little bit after an hour. I'm getting hungry.
Me too.
We are. Yeah, thank you, Arthur. Thank you
Yeah,
so
thanks,
much
man.
for coming
You're
on
welcome.
again.
You're welcome.
It's really fun.
You've been
Thanks for suggesting this
wonderful
movie.
guest.
I'm glad I watched it.
I need more people to see this, so come on, we gotta get more people to watch it. I'm glad that you two were
Yeah.
part of this
Well-
podcast here.
Yeah, me too.
We're spreading the good word for people at home. Yeah, this movie Midnight is it's available on Tubi.
It's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube as well. The whole movie's on YouTube. I don't know how accurate the subtitles are on the YouTube version, but it's all there. But Tubi is there as well for free. Please go check it out. Yep, this has been Midnight Movie Gang with our guest Arthur from 2 Cents Critic. Yeah, thank you so much for
Thank
listening.
you.
Have a nice night.
Bye.
Bye.
So, here we go. With child expectations and complexes which the police are searching for James Thomas, believed to be the lover of Miss Williams, and her partner in the horrible murder of Walter. Where's everybody that I hear them all go? Oh, please tell me where they've gone. Please tell me. Sorry, I don't know. How long is it? Man, how could I got in here? Please take us to Albany on 6 o'clock train tonight. What do you think? Special agent.